Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For in this video, we're going to be discussing the 1995 Oscar-winning film Braveheart. Excuse me. It's the movie. Let me do the introduction again. We're going to be discussing the 1995 Oscar-winning film Braveheart, starring Mel Gibson, who also directed this film. And the movie won the Oscar, like I just said, won the Oscar for Best Picture for 1995. Of course, this movie is about the story or life story of William Wallace, who back in the 11th century, I think it was the 11th or 12th century, who fought against the British to free Scotland from British rule. And it's like a complete antithesis of the movie that came out the year before that won the Oscar, which was of course Forrest Gump, and it was like more of a lighthearted satire film story. This one is like over a 3-hour film, which is like over the extreme violence, some nudity, and a couple of new scenes like where the whole Scottish army does something that kills and wounds the British army at one point in the film, and one nude scene in the film, which is like completely different. But for the rest of the movie, the majority of the film, at least 2 hours of it, or more than 2 hours of it, is complete violence, as they have really big fight scenes for like 2 hours in this film, and it's a 3-hour movie. So, because like most of the first hour is telling the whole backstory of William Wallace. When he was a little boy, the people of Scotland, or Scots, or Scottish people, we should say, at that time, was always trying to fight the British rule, and William Wallace's father gets killed in a particular battle, and of course falls in love with a little girl who William Wallace does. Falls in love with a girl who gave him a flower at William's father's funeral. And of course, years later, William lives with his uncle and comes back to the village and secretly marries the girl who gave him the flower when they were kids. Now, of course, the reason why he did it in secret, instead of letting everybody know about the marriage, is because they had a rule that as soon as a woman gets married to a Scottish, or two Scots get married, a man and woman get married, a Scottish man marries a Scottish woman, the rule was that a British officer in the British Army has the right to rape the bride. I don't know how true that is, but that was the bit in the movie. And so William Wallace knew about this rule, so he decides to do marriage in secret. And then meanwhile, the British Army finds out that this girl was hanging out with William Wallace. So they decided to attempt to rape her anyway, and she fought back. And so did William Wallace fought back, killed a couple, attempt to rape her. And William Wallace saves his wife's life, and he runs off into the hills, away from these guys. And of course, one of them, one of the few that lived, said, "Okay, I'm gonna wait for him to come back. I know how to get him back here, so we can kill him." And he kills, and this British officer kills William's wife, and that gives him motivation to. And that's only about maybe not even an hour into this movie. And so the rest of the movie, 2 hours left of the movie, you're going to see all these battle scenes of William Wallace fights to get, fights for freedom. And that's how he yells out to the whole movie, "Freedom!" Especially the famous first real big battle scene. The scene they mentioned when all the whole entire Scottish army did that William Wallace rounds up, wounds, and flashes their asses to the British Army. And there was actually one of them that actually got shot in the ass with an arrow, which is good. which is good. Hey, good shot there. He got shot in the ass with an arrow, which he deserves. But I know I'm going off topic there, but of course, with Mel Gibson gave this famous speech, "They may take our lives, we never take freedom," and the whole one big battle scene after the other, and of course, William Wallace's army is about to invade England. Believe it or not, because it was that successful, and the King of England decides, hey, who was in failing health, decides to negotiate a peace treaty with William Wallace to negotiate. But in hindsight, they decided to fake him out and lure him into a trap, and which happens, and William Wallace gets captured, and they decided to torture him. And so the King of England says, look, the only way that you would, that we would give you your freedom, or Scotland, the people of Scotland, their freedom, is if you kiss the King's ass. And they actually did say that, just like that, if you kiss the King's ass, we'll give you guys your freedom. And of course, Mel Gibson says, F you, I'm not doing it. If I have to kiss the King's ass to get my freedom, it's not worth it. So they decided to give William Wallace a public torture. I am not kidding. They actually tortured this guy in front of hundreds and not thousands of people. And there's one big scene towards the end of the film, and they constantly, like 20 minutes, about the last 25 minutes of the film, they were torturing him. And of course, and it looks like, it really didn't show it. It looks like they castrated the guy. Well, in real life, Mel Gibson should be castrated, but that's a different thing. The drunken anti-Semitic piece of garbage should be castrated anyway for making that movie, Passion of the Christ. He should be castrated just for that. But neither here nor there. But they keep asking me. First they try to put him on the rack and try to stretch him. Do that for about like 5 minutes or whatever, and he says, "You ready to kiss the King's ass?" And he said, "Nope." And he keeps saying no. It doesn't respond because he's being tortured, choked to death almost. And no matter what they were doing, he would not agree to those terms. So they keep giving something up, or make something up to torture him for the next thing. And like I said, they're doing this in front of thousands of people in the public square, torturing him. And then they decided to cut his manhood off, and then they castrate him. And the look of the people said, I can't believe it. And some of them were actually, which was disturbing in its own way, were actually cheering over the fact. And then when they castrate him, that's when people, some of them, particularly the women, went, I can't believe we're watching this. And then there were some women in the crowd who actually was cheering for this. I mean, come on. And I know that Mel Gibson directed this thing, directed the people to act like that, but I mean, this is like something out of Game of Thrones. Really, in the end of this movie, and then of course something else that they didn't show was that he actually got decapitated. Because after they castrated him, do you have anything to say? Uncle Minro yells out, freedom! You know, like that. And then after he yells out freedom, that's when they cut his head off. Even though they didn't see it, but they were attempting to put a blade to skin, and that's when they cut the scene off to the last battle scene at the end, where they announced that he was decapitated, or the narrator announced that he was decapitated, and what they did was they cut up his body. So one part, like one leg was in one part of the country, another leg was in another part of England, and put one part around of his body all around England. You see, this is what you get if you don't kiss the king's ass. You get this, and that's, and then they had another rally because Lenny the Bruce was the one that actually screwed William Wallace and tricked him into this meeting when he gets captured, and now he all of a sudden feels guilty about what happened, and they set the guy up. And say, hey, you set this guy up. And he says, look, we were supposed to negotiate with him, and that set the guy up to torture him. And he says, well, the king, the new king says tough shit, and pretty much, and so Lenny the Bruce says, the hell with this, and he goes to and he helps out the Scottish Army because he felt so guilty about what happened with William Wallace, and it's really bad what happened, and it's, you know, it was ridiculous. I thought this movie was way too long. I'm sure this movie came out today in 2018 instead of back in 1995. People would say it's too long or too drawn out. I felt it was a little bit too long, especially the battle scenes were too long. And it's, you know, it did win the Oscar for Best Picture, so it did. I'm not saying it didn't have a story to it, but just said I felt that the battle scenes were padded out a little bit, and everybody felt like by watching the Lord of the Rings movies that those battle scenes were also way too long, and that's what I felt about the battle scenes in this movie. Too long, and some of the other stuff was like padded out to give the audience a break between the battle scenes. That's what I think of the movie, that I think it's too padded out. But, you know, it is what it is. It is an Oscar-winning film. It's like maybe nowadays, I think it's one of all the movies that won Oscars during the 90s for Best Picture. I think that this movie is practically the most forgotten one. You could argue maybe Dances with Wolves was maybe more forgotten than this movie, but the interesting thing with Dances with Wolves and Braveheart is it was also one of the first, and the first. It wasn't the first movie from Mel Gibson that he directed. He directed The Man Without a Face, which he also starred in. So it wasn't really. It's not like Dances with Wolves because it was Kevin Costner's first his first movie that he directed. But Braveheart was not the first movie that Mel Gibson directed. It's just the one that he won the Oscar for, and a lot of people thought he should win the Oscar for Passion of the Christ, but he didn't, thankfully, because he blamed the Jews for killing Christ instead of the Romans, which was his should have been. And everybody knows the Romans killed Christ and not the Jews. Okay, in that film. But and I was thinking of Braveheart. Braveheart is, Mel Gibson was a good director before he went crazy and drunk and a drunken bastard is what he is. And I don't think he has made a good movie since Braveheart. And now nobody's going to cast him in anything because he's an anti-Semitic asshole, you know. But that's what he did in this movie, and he did. You know, he did a decent job with this film. Of course he did his job, otherwise he would win the Oscar. But I don't think Mel Gibson won the Oscar for Best Director in this film. I'm not too sure on that. But, you know, like I said, it is what it is. It's another Best Picture movie that crossed off my list that I actually saw. So that's my review of the movie Braveheart. Please click on the video. Please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and all on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com. There's OWDY, and then C.com. There's a homepage to the Rally Reviewer, Christine Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.